When you receive a check for a subsidized family from the state or county, you can record that across many families at once. For example, you'll get a single check and it applies to 10 or more families. Well, that's easy to do with agency payment posting. You'll go to the Functions menu in the upper left, choose Agency Accounting, and then Agency Payment Posting. And then if you have more than one agency, you'll pick the name of the agency up here. And then choose View Current. This is going to show you all the fees that the agency at the moment owes you for. So we'll see we have a total amount owed of over $4,400, but usually the agency is paying a month or two in arrears, so we're not going to expect to receive all of that on this one check. In the comment here, you could put in the check number, or maybe there's a voucher number that comes with it. Maybe it's voucher A1234, and then the full amount of the check. Let's say it happens to be this amount, and we'll tap enter. Now we can apply that payment to many different families. So here we'll see a charge from back in May for the account Combs and child Megan, and $580 is due. And let's say, for example, the amount that the agency is paying is only $540. So I've got my list from the agency showing they paid the $540, and so I'm just going to in this case write off the difference. I'm going to say, okay, that other $40 is not collectible, so I'll put that in here as an adjustment. And I'm going to say that's a write-off for the agency. That's money that I'm not going to collect. The agency denied that amount. And then next on my list is Megan's brother Chris. And if we look at that, the agency owes $325 for the month of May. And this is my May voucher, so that makes sense. And they're paying the full amount. So I can type it in, or I can just double-click right here in the due, and it puts in the same amount for the payment. Okay, let's move on to the next family on my list. Let's see, they didn't pay for the June charges yet for that family, but here we're on to the Harrison family, and they did pay a May fee for Charlie Jr., and they owe $375 on Charlie. Oh, here's another case where they didn't pay the full amount, so they paid $365, and in this case the $10 difference is something that I'm going to transfer over to the parent and say, well, you know, that in this case this happens to be the parent's responsibility for whatever reason. So I'm going to transfer that over to the parent. And I keep looking down my list here, and the next family on the list is the Johnson family, and there's Billy and $135 due. That's also for May, and they paid that as well. So I'll double click right here. It inserts the payment amount, and then I look at the top of my column. I'll say there's $1,365 that I'm applying to different families, and hey, that matches the $1,365 amount of the check. So I'm good to go. I'm going to have $50 in adjustments. So I'm going to say post and exit, or I could save this for later if I wasn't done and come back to it in the state that it's currently at. But I'm going to go ahead and say post and exit. I've now closed that voucher, and I can exit out of the screen. And that's really all there is to processing an agency payment. If you want to, we can look at a ledger for a family so you can see how that works. We'll click on the ledger icon here on the account toolbar, and we'll look under the private pay ledger for Vicki Harrison, and we'll see that here we have a transfer of $10 from the agency. This is the $10 amount that we transferred to the family that we said was the parent's responsibility. And you'll see that that's locked because this was something that happened as part of processing that agency payment. If we go to the drop-down list at the top, we can look at the DHS share of things, and here we'll see the original charges, $375 for the month of May, $375 for the month of June, and then we'll see a payment received by the agency for less than the full amount, and then a transfer to private payer for the $10 difference. And so that's how what you do when you're processing the payment ends up getting transferred to the ledger card. And that's all there is to it.